It seems like everyone is looking for confirmation that the markets are turning bullish once again. Bitcoin has pushed right back up to the big resistance of 40K, and this week has been a week of testing it over and over. When is it going to be broken? Well, that could have already happened. If so, the next question is when 50K, when 60K? Well, you know our opinion, those number hits are inevitable, just like you watching this episode, because it's time for Chico Crypto. So let's just take a look at why breaking 40K is so important and why it's been rough getting through it. January 9th, we first tested it, but then rejected. Then January 14th, another rejection. It was almost a month later, February 8th, that Bitcoin officially broke 40K for the first time. But then in May, we fell below once again. And since May, we have tested it over and over, with our most recent tests coming over the past few days. I really hope the break has already come, but like I mentioned a couple days ago, I see the official break coming in early August. August 1st if I had to put a date on it. But after 40K, we have the next levels, 50K, and then the grand poobah, 60K. So the next question is, if we do break 40K between yesterday and early August, when are we going to smash through 50K and then 60K? Will it be like before, back in February? It only took 7 days from breaking 40K on February 8th to smashing through 50K on February 15th. And then our first cross of 60K happened on March 13th, only 24 days from the break of 50K. So it only took 1 month, 31 days to gain $20,000. If that happens again and say we officially break on August 1st, that would mean we would be back at 60K, testing that high resistance by September 1st. So is this going to happen? Back to 60K by September 1st? Well, I can't tell you that because I'm just a dude who knows nothing, but others in the space, based on technicals, are saying that yeah, it just might. A Year of the Bull 1.618 on Twitter posted their chart and said, "Today, let's add one of my favorite Bitcoin cycle indicators, based on the 2-year MA and a 5x multiple of 2-year MA. It helps us identify seasons of despair, as well as greed in the BTC cycle. BTC is getting ready for mania." And then also Bitcoin bear trap at the golden ratio 1.618 before the mania phase, just like last cycle. Now looking at their chart, yeah, BTC in the past cycle 2017 and that bear trap bounced off this ratio number of 1.618 before it entered into the mania phase of that cycle. Well, here recently too, we bounced off that golden ratio. And from their chart, it looks like we are breaking the 60K high set in May by September of this year. If you guys didn't know, my birthday is in September. That would be such a happy birthday to me if we do break 60K that month. Also, if you guys want to give Year of the Bull a follow to check out more of their TA, link for their profile is down in the description. Although technicals are just one part of the equation, everyone knows Chico Crypto is a fundamentalist through and through. Fundamentally, what could be happening that could spark the run? Well, the Fed in the United States, they met 2 days ago on the 28th to discuss the possibility of raising interest rates. Raising wouldn't be good for asset prices overall, as the policy makes money cheap to borrow and spend, which of course flows first into the stock market, but some of that cheaply borrowed money is spent in the crypto markets too. So let's listen to their decision from Fed Chairman Jerome Powell.
Today, the Federal Open Market Committee kept interest rates near zero and maintained our asset purchases. These measures, along with our strong guidance on interest rates and on our balance sheet, will ensure that monetary policy will continue to support the economy until the recovery is complete. It's not timely for us to be thinking about raising interest rates right now. What we're doing is we're looking at our asset purchases and judging what is right for the economy and judging how close we are to substantial further progress.
They ain't touching rates, because if they do, shiznit would hit the fan. So fundamentally, in the short to midterm, this is bullish for stonks, and this is bullish for crypto. Although it's not good in the long term, but that's a whole nother story. So in the macroeconomic environment, things look really good for a bullish run for the rest of the year. But fundamentally, within Bitcoin and crypto, what could also help push things to the next levels? Well, major protocol upgrades, of course. Everyone knows about the London upgrade for Ethereum coming August 4th, which will include EIP 1559, which is the biggest change to Ethereum ever. I've covered it multiple times, so I won't beat a dead horse, but when this upgrade commences, part of Ethereum's transaction fees will be burned and destroyed forever. Forever. This upgrade is highly anticipated, and many think it's critical to Ethereum being able to handle another surge of users when things get hot and bullish once again. So Ethereum has a major protocol upgrade right around the corner, but what about Bitcoin? Well, BTC locked in its biggest upgrade in a very long time too, just last month. This is Taproot, and on June 12th, it reached the 90% miner signaling for yes to officially lock it in. So what is this Taproot for Bitcoin? Well, Taproot is a soft fork to the network that will improve the scripting capabilities and privacy by enabling something called Masked. So what does Masked and Taproot do? Well, number one, increased privacy, and this does not refer to anonymous Bitcoin addresses, it refers to types of transactions. Taproot and Masked will make complex transactions, such as those requiring multiple signatures or those with delayed releases, indistinguishable from simple transactions in terms of on-chain footprint. Number two, lower fees. The data size of complex Bitcoin transactions will be reduced, which will lead to lower transaction costs. Number three is more flexibility. Masked allows a new type of signature that will enhance smart contract functionality, making it easier and cheaper for users to set more complicated conditions for a transaction. And finally, number four, a Lightning Network boost. It's going to make transactions on the Lightning Network cheaper, more flexible, and more private. Lightning channel transactions are going to look just like regular Bitcoin transactions. So if Taproot is activated and locked in, why are you talking about it right now? Well, Taproot is actually not live. The over 90% miner signaling just okayed the activation. The deployment of Taproot is actually coming later in the year, and nicehash.com has a nice countdown to it. As we can see, it's projected to happen in November, the 16th to be exact. The importance of Taproot isn't really fully understood yet. But to help you understand, this is the first time Bitcoin has gotten an upgrade in 4 freaking years. The last one was SegWit, Segregated Witnesses, which happened in August of 2017. And that set Bitcoin up back then for its mania phase. Is Taproot the upgrade of this cycle, which will push Bitcoin into the mania phase? Although there could be another Bitcoin upgrade making its way into the protocol, maybe this year, as it's already semi-live with some Bitcoin miners and pools. That is the mining protocol upgrade, Stratum v2. Stratum v2 provides a bunch of different technical upgrades, like switching from JSON for communication to binary to make communication more seamless, also reducing redundant communication between pools and individual miners, and also cryptographic authentication that allows you to prevent man-in-the-middle attacks, such as your ISP stealing your hash power. Basically, Stratum v2 is just more efficient than what most of the miners use today, which is none other than Stratum v1. Now, the mining company Brains, who are behind the largest non-Chinese mining pool Slushpool, are the creators of Stratum v1 and also v2. And Slushpool and their OS for miners is the first to deploy Stratum v2. They tweeted about the efficiency of this. They said, increase your capital efficiency by up to 25% with Brains OS Plus. They included the stats. Revenues are much higher and ROI time is much quicker for miners. So the miners are going to want to adopt V2. But V2 is only in what I would call a limited beta. It has the technical upgrades I mentioned above, but the big one, job negotiation, isn't ready. Job negotiation allows individual miners with a mining pool to choose their own blocks to mine rather than having to mine the one that the pool proposes for them. This, in theory, will decentralize Bitcoin to where it needs to be, breaking up the power of the mining pools. So when job negotiation? Well, March 3rd of this year, the Brain's Twitter tweeted, "So what is the state of Stratum V2 adoption today?" Well, it's still the very early days. We have an implementation on Slushpool and in our Brains OS Plus firmware, so there are already many miners using V2. However, this doesn't include job negotiation yet. They continue. The reason is that there are changes necessary in Bitcoin Core in order to make job negotiation possible. So there can't be a full implementation of Stratum V2 until those changes are made. Good news, the development is in progress and Square Crypto is leading it forward. Well, ain't that some shiznit? Jack Dorsey's Square Crypto is pushing forward V2's job negotiation? So could an update on that be coming soon? Well, it has been 5 months since we last heard a word. Cheers, I'll see you next time.